Do you ever just stop and get that weird, anxious feeling that time is speeding up?
Oh, all the time.
You look back at the last year and it feels like it just flew by, like it's this tiny compressed thing.
Hmm.
But then you think about, I don't know, a single afternoon from when you were a kid, maybe 9 or 10 years old,
Hmm.
and that one afternoon felt like a whole week.
Absolutely. It's a universal feeling, and it's not just in your head. People feel it, and they start thinking about metaphysics or blaming stress.
Right.
But the source material we're looking at today suggests this is, well, it's a measurable thing. It's rooted in how our perception actually shifts. It's
Yeah.
psychology, it's neurology.
And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive. We've pulled together some material that gives this, frankly, really elegant explanation for this whole time warp feeling.
It's surprisingly simple, actually.
It is, and we're going to unpack the idea that the speed up of time isn't really about losing time, it's about losing experiences, and once you get that, it really changes how you think about your day.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's unpack the sources.
Let's start with that central mystery. The childhood time warp, we all feel it. That childhood time just seemed to stretch.
Hmm.
A single day, as the sources put it, could feel like a whole week. You're just taking in so much, then you're an adult, and boom, an entire season is gone.
Right.
So what is actually fundamentally different in the brain between being, say, 7 years old and 37?
The fundamental thing is context.
Yeah.
The clock itself, the second, that's constant. But how our brain codes reality, how it files it away, that changes drastically.
Okay, so it's a filing problem.
It's all about memory storage.
Yeah.
The sources are really clear on this. When you look back on a period of time,
Mm.
your brain estimates how long it was based on how many unique memories it can pull up.
So the density of the memories.
The density, exactly.
So if adult life feels like a time lapse and childhood feels like slow motion, what's the simple reason for that huge gap in memory density?
The simple reason is newness. Just
Or-
raw newness.
New experience.
Far more of them. I mean, think about a toddler. Everything is a mystery. Every texture, every new food, every person they meet, it's a first. And this constant stream of firsts forces the brain into a high-intensity recording mode.
I get that childhood is just a bombardment of novelty, but let's get into the mechanics of it. How does just having more new things translate into the feeling of time stretching?
Well, when you encounter something truly novel, your brain can't just fall back on an old compressed file. It has no template for it.
It has to start from scratch.
It has to start from scratch. It dedicates serious cognitive resources, a lot of this happens in the prefrontal cortex, to fully encode the whole experience. It's grabbing details, emotions, smells, sounds,
Oh,
creating this rich, unique, high-definition file.
okay.
And then when you look back a year later, the sheer amount of information in that one file, it basically tricks your brain into thinking that moment must have lasted a long time. There's just more data to scroll through.
So, if I'm getting this right, the subjective length of my last year isn't measured by a clock, but by how many distinct high-def memory markers I managed to create.
That's the core realization, precisely. Your brain is judging time based on the data load.
Wow.
I mean, the brain is an efficiency machine, right? It's built for survival. Newness requires a ton of attention and resources. Routine, on the other hand, routine lets it compress everything and save energy.
So that feeling of time stretching is just a side effect of the brain working harder.
Yes, it's the conscious experience of your brain trying to map a new part of the world.
And this whole mechanism, it's so well known, it actually has a name.
It does. Our source is called the Novelty Effect, and they even use this really beautiful Arabic phrasing for it, ishusi.
Ishishisi, so that's literally the effect of newness.
Exactly. And that term just makes the whole abstract feeling so much more concrete, doesn't it?
It does. It's not just a nice to have, it's the fuel.
And what the novelty effect means in practice is that anything unfamiliar automatically triggers this deep memory encoding. It's like psychological triage.
So, give me an example.
Okay, think about the difference between navigating a city you've never been to before versus your daily commute to work.
Right. Total opposites.
In the new city, you are on high alert. You're reading signs, looking at landmarks, you're building a mental map from scratch. The commute, your brain just files that under autopilot, same as yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The memory density from that one day in the new city is exponentially greater than a whole month of commutes. So that day feels so much longer in retrospect.
So if every day has something new in it, a new challenge, a different conversation, even just a new taste, the number of these high-quality memory files goes way up.
Dramatically.
And that spike in information is what makes time extend in your mind when you look back. It's the richness of the past dictating its perceived length.
You got it. Time, in this sense, is a psychological construct.
Yeah.
It's totally dependent on the unique memory markers you're laying down.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the flip side. The kind of painful reality of adulthood. Why does this novelty effect just fade so dramatically for most of us?
It's the inverse of the child's world, and it's all driven by optimization. I mean, adult life demands competence, predictability. We need routines.
Routines make life work.
They do. They free up brain power for other problems. We have the same job, the same drive home, the same core people we talk to. And because it's also predictable, the brain does exactly what it's designed to do.
It stops wasting energy. It stops recording the details.
Exactly. Why record the same episode of a TV show 100 times?
It's like we've downgraded our internal camera from 8K resolution down to like a blurry GIF just to save on mental disk space.
That's a perfect analogy. And the sources actually have this very poetic way of describing the contrast. The child is described as living. It's okine.
Which means
Full moments.
Yeah.
Every moment is just saturated with information.
full moments. I like that. And the adult,
The adult, and this one stings a bit, is described as living ukunye.
repeated copy.
Repeated copies. And when you live repeated copies, your brain can just file Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of last week under one single compressed entry called work week.
Wow. That image is, it's really striking. Living repeated copies of the same day. And the end result of all that compression is the feeling we started with.
Time flying by.
Because there are so few unique markers, the entire past just seems shorter. There's nothing to grab onto to differentiate one week from the next.
It just smooths the timeline into a blur. And look, this is really useful for being productive. You couldn't function if tying your shoe felt like a novel 20-minute saga every single day,
Of course.
but it is absolutely disastrous for how long your life feels.
Okay, wait, let me push back on that for a second because I think a lot of people might wonder this.
Go for it.
If it's all about the effort of encoding, what about miserable repetition? Like,
Right.
if you have a really boring, repetitive job for 10 years and you hate every minute, those minutes feel excruciatingly slow while you're living them.
Yes, they do.
So why does that decade still feel compressed when you look back on it?
That is a brilliant question, and it's
Yeah.
a really important distinction to make. You're right. Time feels slow in the moment when you're bored or miserable.
Right.
That's because your attention is hyper-focused on the lack of stimulus. You're watching the clock. But this feeling of acceleration we're talking about, that's something that happens in retrospect.
Ah, it's a looking back problem.
It's entirely a looking back problem.
Yeah.
In the moment, time drags. But later, when your brain files those 10 years of misery, it sees that every Tuesday was just a repeated copy of the last. The emotional content was negative, sure, but the informational content was low.
So it compresses it anyway.
It compresses it anyway. 10 years of routine misery can vanish just as quickly as 10 years of routine comfort. The feeling that time flies is strictly about informational density, not whether it felt good or bad.
That hits hard. And it leads us right into the really profound conclusion from the source material. If our perception of time is based entirely on how many new memories we pack in, then the speed up isn't a cosmic failure. It's our failure to collect new experiences.
Yeah.
That is the central and, yes, slightly uncomfortable realization. The sources put it so directly. We are not losing time. We are losing experiences.
The clock is the same. Our engagement with life is what's changed,
We've traded the child's mindset of discovery for the adult's mindset of efficiency.
which means that nagging feeling you get, that feeling that time is slipping away faster every year, that's actually a diagnostic tool.
It's an alarm bell.
It's your brain telling you that your life has become too routine,
Yeah.
that you've defaulted to compression mode.
Exactly. When you feel time slipping away, it's not a sign that you're running out of years. It's a sign that you have defaulted to repeated copies instead of creating full moments.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. What's the application here? We've established this is all about the novelty effect, me, and the memory storage. If we want to slow down our perception of time, we have to fight that compression. And the key is that it's a behavioral shift, not some metaphysical trick. You have to actively, intentionally introduce novelty and complexity into your life. Break the routines. Force your brain back into that high-def recording mode.
And this isn't just about taking big vacations.
Not at all. It's about small, intentional acts. It's about engagement.
Right. Like if you walk the same route to work every day, Maybe one day you consciously decide to look up at the tops of the buildings, or you count the different types of trees.
Yes. Or just notice 3 things you have literally never focused on before. You are forcing your brain to create a new, high-density file for a moment that would otherwise be completely ignored and compressed.
You're choosing attention over autopilot.
That's the whole game. The challenge isn't always finding new places. It's about bringing that child's mindset of active observation back into familiar places. We have to embrace a little inefficiency sometimes.
Because the inefficiency is what creates the rich memories.
It's what makes the markers that stretch time out in your memory.
So these micro changes are what's really powerful. The perceived length of your life is basically a measure of how densely you packed your days. That's an incredibly empowering idea.
It puts you back in control.
You control the pacing, not the clock.
You're essentially trading a tiny bit of your daily efficiency for a huge return in how long and full your life feels when you look back on it.
So we want to leave you with a final thought to chew on, based on everything we've talked about today. If the solution to this feeling of lost time is really just a deliberate change in your behavior and your attention, what single novel experience, no matter how small or strange, could you inject into your day tomorrow to make it feel full again?